Hi, I'm Nisha DeGaring, host of Good Things Utah, and I've been a longtime supporter of Todd's Belief Cast. I hope you find inspiration in the courageous stories shared by the amazing people Todd features on his show. The guests serve as shoulders for us to stand on, allowing us to see a little further and cultivate belief in oneself. Remember, you have the dignity and power to change. I encourage you to keep striving and believing in yourself. Enjoy today's podcast.
I want to take a moment to express my heartfelt gratitude to the incredible sponsors of the BeliefCast podcast. First, Craig from Craig Swap and Associates. If you need an attorney, he's your guy. Trustworthy, compassionate, always there when you need him most. Next, Wasatch Recovery, the greatest university on the planet, transforming lives one day at a time. Sandy from Minky Couture, the creative genius behind the most comfortable blanket you'll ever wrap yourself in. Comfort like no other. The visionaries behind Thread wallets. These wallets redefine style and functionality. Dave Philippi from Micro Plus, pushing the boundaries of nanotechnology and scientific research to bring us cutting-edge supplements for optimal health. The Ralphs and the Debenhams, creators of Mori Nutrition and Calm. Because if you're struggling with sleep, feeling stressed, or can't focus, Calm is your answer. Special thanks to the award-winning pianist Paul Cardall for his beautiful music that brings inspiration to every episode. And finally, Gab Wireless, letting kids be kids and giving parents the peace of mind they deserve. Right now, Gab is offering $25 off any device to new customers with no contract required. That's $25 off any Gab smartphone or smartwatch. Just go to gab.com/belief. That's where you'll get the best deal. That's gabb.com/belief. Thank you to all these amazing sponsors for supporting the BeliefCast podcast and empowering us to continue spreading positivity and inspiration to the world. And we are back. This is Todd Sylvester with the Todd Inspires BeliefCast. As always, thank you for tuning in week after week. You guys are fantastic. You guys share these so much that it makes my job easy. So thank you. And it's not hard to do that because of these amazing people that I bring on. And today's going to be one of those days, guys. You guys are in for a treat. Some people are told they will live a different life, and they'll let that define them. Others take the challenge and turn it into greatness. My guest today is the definition of a fighter, a champion, and a man who refuses to be a victim. Ben Kjar was born with Crouzon syndrome, a craniofacial condition that could have held him back in his life. Instead, he embraced his uniqueness and became Utah Valley University's first ever NCAA Division I Wrestling All-American. And if that wasn't enough, at age 40, he represented the USA at the World Championships in Greece and walked away as a world champion in Greco-Roman Wrestling. Amazing. Ben is also a world-class speaker. He shares his story with millions across the globe, inspiring them to rise above their circumstances. His documentary, STANDOUT, the Ben Kjar Story, just was premiered, last week in Hollywood. I mean, amazing stuff. But your greatest, probably, victory is that you're a devoted husband, a proud father of 3 beautiful adopted children. Ben believes that the true wealth comes from experiences, culture, and connection. His life is proof that when you stand out, you truly stand tall. Get ready to be inspired, everybody. Ben Kjar is in the house.
Yeah, in the house.
In the house.
And you know what, Todd, you're not wrong about that. But it isn't probably my greatest victory. It is my greatest victory.
Yeah.
My wife is my greatest. She's just my greatest gift.
Yeah.
And then my kids. Holy smokes! Like, if there's not the best calling in the world to be called dad.
Right.
Man, that's the best title.
Well, and for people who don't know, I mean, it was a long journey for you to get those kids. And shout out to LaCol.
Yes.
I mean, you can tell when you guys are together how much in love you guys are. We got this beautiful picture on my TV right now of you and her kind of wrapped in a flag. So beautiful. Beautiful kids. I mean, you can just tell how much you guys are in love. And I believe you when you say that. This is out of all the great things you're doing, that is for sure your number one thing.
100%.
Yeah.
I've talked with many quote unquote successful people. As a matter of fact, it wasn't long ago I was on the phone with a billionaire, not millionaire, not thousandaire, a billionaire. That's like a bucket list for many people.
Sure.
Here's the thing though, when I was talking with him, miserable. He was absolutely miserable because along the way, because of what he focused on, which is nothing wrong to focus on that, just know that sometimes along the way, you may lose something that you may have not thought was the most precious, and he did. He was still in love with his ex-wife, and I tell you what, man, if quote-unquote success ever leads you to leaving or losing your greatest gift, it ain't success.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very well said. I heard this once too, Ben, that from it might have even been a billionaire, but a really successful man said, true success is that when your kids are older, they still want to hang out with you. I thought, wow.
I love that.
That's where it's at. I have 4 kids of my own. They're older.
Yeah.
And luckily we love to hang out. We hang out all the time together, which is so cool. And I really look at that, man. I wouldn't want it any other way. If I didn't have that, but I was way more successful over here, you're right. It wouldn't feel right. It wouldn't fit. It would. You'd be miserable.
That's
ultimately.
not life.
Yeah.
Yeah, those aren't relationships.
Yeah. Well, Ben, you've lived quite a life, my friend, and you have been through a lot, and you've done a lot, and you're doing so many good things, but it wasn't always that way. So why don't you tell our listeners who may not know your backstory a little bit about what that you were diagnosed with when you were born, and kind of the struggles you went through of people judging you and that kind of thing, and fighting to trying to find your place.
Yeah, for sure. And it wasn't easy. When you come out of your mama's womb and the doctor looks at your parents and like, whoa, your kid is different.
Wow.
And they didn't know that previous. Technology nowadays is a lot different.
Yeah.
Tests nowadays are different than what you used to have. And nobody in my family, I was the 4th of 7 kids, up to that point, nobody had any differences, let alone facial differences.
Yeah.
No cousins, nobody. A rare situation.
Yeah.
And the doctors would say, hey, your kid is going to need to absolutely have facial reconstructive surgeries. It's something called Crouzon syndrome, and it's super abnormal, super rare. And they're like, what are you talking about? What is this? Man, internet wasn't around. Couldn't figure it out. Probably better, though. Because if you type it in today, there's some pretty crazy stuff that comes up. So they go down the line of trying to understand what this looks like. At one, they would do a surgery because Crouzon syndrome affects the mid part of the face. And it wouldn't grow at the same speed. And my skull wouldn't expand at the speed it needed to have my brain expand.
Okay.
So there's some major warnings and dangers if you don't correct this, not just once, but multiple times in the growth stages. So they said, your boy's going to have surgeries that take 12 hours, 14 hours, who knows?
Yeah, wow.
And who knows what the complications are going to be. Mom and Dad, here's what's going to happen. We're going to cut his head open from ear to ear and shave his head. He's going to need a trach in his throat just to function. Medicine all over his body, right? We're going to inject needles and all these things around. We're going to take some bones from his other parts of his body, like my hip and stuff like that, just so it's like familiar.
Yeah.
And so he doesn't reject the bones. And we're going to hope and pray that when we pull his face forward, that his muscles don't pop back. Wow. And how we're going to do that is when we pull it forward, we're going to pack those bones and anything we can find that works in that gap. And then we're going to wire his mouth shut.
Oh, my
and
goodness.
So
wow.
My parents are like, what? And to see your 1-year-old baby go through that and come out with stitches coming out. I remember being in the hospital, even at a young age, because I had it again when I was 5, and I had multiple surgeries. I remember being wrapped up, and my mom said when she would nurse me, she'd have to tape my eyes open because they were so swollen.
Oh, yeah.
Just so she can look at me.
Yeah.
And I was just so swollen I couldn't breathe out of my nose. Anyways, long story short, it was a rough beginning. But you know what, Todd, this is the thing. It wasn't the physical side that was the hardest. It was the emotional and mental side.
Imagine, yeah.
And that would be the thing that the doctors didn't have a cure for.
Right. Yeah, I can't even imagine. I mean, being a kid in normal life is hard enough, let alone throwing some differences. You know, kids can be very cruel. Parents can be very cruel. I know you faced a lot of judgment, right? And talk about that, like, because that had to have been emotionally taxing on you.
Totally. Yeah. We talk about this in the documentary, and we were really blessed to be able to recreate it with a kid who has Crouzon syndrome. And it's in a moment that would change my life. I went to the store and I picked up a Twix candy bar, and I'm checking out, and there's no automatic checkout.
Right.
It's people are waiting in line, rush hour traffic. I feel like my whole neighborhood's there, and I'm just in elementary. And there's an adult in front of me, an adult man, and his little boy and his little girl. And in this moment, he would say something that would like literally start shaping my life. And when he saw me, he saw I look different, and he grabbed his kids as he's getting ready to check out. And everybody behind me heard the whole thing.
Right.
And you can imagine being the cashier during all this.
Yeah.
It's not a kid who doesn't know any better. It's an adult annihilating verbally like this little kid.
Yeah.
That it's not his shirt. It's not his ugly shoes that he has on. It's not that he's wearing like off-colored pants.
Right.
It's literally he can't control what he looks like because he was born that way.
Yeah.
And in that moment he says, "Hey kids, come here. Come over here." And he pulls them towards him. He says, "Look at that kid. Look how funny he looks. No wonder why he doesn't have any friends."
Ooh.
Person living like that or looking like that, they don't have friends. And he just laughed.
Wow.
And I remember just holding the candy bar so tight it just crushed in my hand. And my appetite was gone.
Mm-hmm.
And I started crying. Alone. They're in the store. And when I thought couldn't get any worse, he then grabs his kids, shoves them behind him like he's getting away from a monster. And he says, "Don't go near him and don't touch him because he's probably contagious.
Wow.
Let's go. Get out to the car. Hurry." And in that moment, I just absolutely broke. Just broke. And I got my way home, still with like a crushed, melted candy bar in my hand, still in the wrapper. I couldn't even think about eating it. I just couldn't even think about barely just like breathing. I get home. I run to my dad's office, and off my dad's office is a bathroom where I just collapsed against the wall and slammed the door. My mom heard me bawling. She ran in. She broke in the door, and she just saw me, and I just didn't tell her for a while. I could barely even breathe. I was crying so much. But it was lucky that she was home, and it was lucky that she came in when she did, because I tried to figure out a way to physically take my face off.
Yeah. Wow.
As an elementary age kid, that's sad.
Yeah.
It's super sad when you even have to think about that.
Yeah.
And that your life will be better if you get rid of the difference. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
My mom came in. Finally, I told her. We just sobbed together, cried together. And in this moment, she would change my life because she would stand me up. She's like, "Man, all right. I get it. But just remember that, you're different, but it's because you're born to make a difference." When she said that, it hit me very different. She stood me up, put me in front of the mirror, and in that moment, she started She basically changed. She reconstructed my belief system.
Wow.
We know about I am statements, and oh my gosh, was this a change for I am statement? And she said in this moment, and this is why the documentary is called what it is. She said, Ben, so many people, and this was like before social media. Imagine how it is now.
Yeah.
She said, Ben, so many people just do anything for attention. She's like, that's not your issue.
Yeah.
So when that attention comes, whether it's good or bad, why don't, instead of you hiding and playing victim and running to the bathroom every time trying to remove your face, why don't you step into that attention and stand out? Why don't you shine?
Man.
And that's why the documentary is called Stand Out, because there's someone in my life in one of the lowest times that I would go through that would come in when I needed them most and reconstruct my thought process, my I am statement, my behavior, who I thought I was, I literally thought it was a curse from God.
Yeah.
Now, because of moments like that and people like my mom and my dad and my siblings and people in the world like Todd, like you, that shine, that absolutely inspire, I now believe Crouzon syndrome is an absolute gift.
Yeah.
Like literally, Todd, I'm here with you
Yeah.
in a rad podcast that you're making so much influence and impact with. Probably not only because I have Crouzon syndrome, but it's like a rad part of it.
Yeah.
It makes the story,
Yeah.
it creates the hero's journey in a totally different dynamic.
Right.
And so
Yeah,
whatever
dang.
people have
love that.
out there, whether it's one leg, whether, like my buddy Anthony Robles, who just put his movie out called Unstoppable, shout out to him.
Nice.
Or whether you've gone through a divorce, whether you are coming off an addiction, whether you thought you were the cause of divorce and you're a child
Yeah.
because your parents
Yeah.
make it feel like that way, or whether you just overcame a death in the family or whatever that is. What if the world actually, in the moment that it was falling apart piece by piece, what if those pieces held like peace? Right?
Yeah.
What if those pieces of the world that was just falling on the ground could hold peace in your heart? What if they could
Like that.
actually have a meaning and a purpose? Because, man, we're here on purpose,
Yeah.
for a purpose, right?
Yeah. Wow. You know, I saw a little clip of when your mom was helping you in that moment, that darkest moment of your life. And James Allen is a hero of mine. He wrote As a Man Thinketh.
Oh, yeah.
And he, in one of his other books, he says, a spoken sentence can turn the tide of history. And really that's that reconstruction, if you will. Your mom says this to you. You reconstructed your belief system, which is ironic. You say that because you had to reconstruct your face, but that wasn't the issue.
Yes.
The issue was the belief system behind the face, right?
So
and,
true.
And have your mom, you know, shout out to the mom, your mom, to say those powerful words and to say it so in a way that you understood it, like, yeah, I need to stand out, you know, I'm going to just lean into this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. That was beautifully told. And that gave me chills.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, you know what? Many people, and it's not just the people in elementary, even though in the story, when we talk about it, I say, I was literally going down the elementary halls, but it didn't stop in elementary. It lasts to today. Where, how often do we get up and we're like, oh man, if I could just be like the Johnsons. Oh, if I could just be like Bobby.
Yeah.
If I could just be like Billy. Whatever that is. My mom knew. I had spoken with her enough, and I had communicated enough with my parents. And we had a good enough relationship to where they knew that I would walk down the halls and just wish to be somebody else's version 2.0.
Yeah.
If I could just live in their shadow and just like, life would be different. That's the biggest bunch of BS, man.
Right.
That is so false information.
Yeah.
We can never thrive the way we're meant to thrive if we don't understand that we're born exactly to be us. Top potential us. Ben Kjar, full out flexing who he is in all of his energy. In all of his, in his meaning, in what I'm called here to do, stepping into his calling. It took me a while to do that. And it ain't just one day you decide to do it and then you're healed for the rest of your life. Every day we get up. You don't just get up and take like a pill and you become like Arnold Schwarzenegger. You go to the gym every day, you put in the reps. You know the difference is it's easy to understand that we can go to the gym and do a curl or a push-up or pull-up. Okay, that's a rep. But what about the mind rep? What about the mental reps, emotional reps? That's the stuff that I think we don't. It's not as palpable. It's not something you can grab onto as easy.
Well, and that's really well said, Ben, because I can only imagine when you were in elementary and junior high even, where you would wake up in the morning knowing, okay, I got to go face the kids at school. I mean, that thought alone, I can't even imagine how daunting at times that felt for you. Like, okay, I got to go face some people probably going to make fun of me, but I'm going, you know, and that's impressive, man, that you fought through that. And again, I know you had a lot of help and people supporting you through all that. I know you started wrestling really young as well. Was that your family influence to try to, hey, this might help build confidence, let's get him in wrestling? Or is that just something you're like, I want to do this? How did that start?
Oh, man. I literally was coming off of a surgery, probably a year out. I mean, I'd healed up a little bit, but the doctors were still like, I don't know about contact sports. I mean, my dad and my uncles were like big wrestlers. Uncle, national champion. Like, it was in my blood. My brother, older brother, wrestled. And he did this thing. I was at Centerville, raised in Centerville, and it was a Viewmont high school called Little Viking. A little community, youth wrestling. And I watched my brother wrestle. And then, after all the practice, was the tournament day.
Okay.
Luke, my older brother, shows up and he's wrestling. And I couldn't wrestle. I don't remember. It was probably if I was too young or I was still healing or whatever. It didn't matter. The doctors are like, yeah, be careful about contact sports. And my mentality, because of the people pouring into me and how I decided to pour into myself, I started getting this little attitude that was good for me. Courage, in other words.
Yeah, right.
That was like, oh, yeah? Watch me. Right?
Yeah.
You going to tell me I can't do something? Watch me. So even though I wasn't in the tournament, I started grabbing kids on the sideline, pulling them in and wrestling them.
Serious?
Oh, yeah. I wrestled probably like 8 to 10 kids.
That's awesome.
And at the end of the tournament, so I'm all sweaty, feeling like I'm a part of this. I'm like, yeah. And some kids were way bigger than me, whatever. My brother, at the end, gets like this award. He goes up on the podium. And my uncle was like the stud.
Yeah.
Who is the 2-time state champion, national champion. He puts his medal on my brother. I'm like, where's my medal? I want one.
Yeah.
And my mom was like, Ben, you weren't a part of the tournament. You have to earn it. You have to earn this. My parents didn't entitle me. They didn't coddle me. They cuddled me. They loved on me. But they don't wrap me in bubble wrap.
And what a gift that was, right?
Such a gift. Because
it would have been easy to like maybe coddle you like because of your situation, right?
100%.
But for them to do that, I mean, again, shout out to them. It really is. It's what's helped you become who you are, I would imagine, right?
Yeah. She's like, you didn't deserve that. You weren't a part of it. You didn't sign up. Mom. And then Bart Thompson, the high school coach, saw this fiasco going. He grabs me, puts me on the top of the podium. And he just said, you know what? You get an award for being the person that wrestled the most amount of kids today. Yeah. And he put the medal on me, and that awesome. Lit my fire. Whoa. Here's my advice for any parents out there. And this is my advice for you guys and any kids out there. If you want to change the world, or change your world, the first step is through confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Today, more than ever, confidence is harder to come by. Resilience, grit.
Yeah.
My parents did such a magnificent job understanding that confidence would probably be harder to come by because of Crouzon syndrome. I was the smallest kid in my class. I had a lot of obstacles that I had to go up against. And so what did they do? They put me in every single thing they possibly thought.
Right.
From clogging
Really?
to orchestra.
Clogging?
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's awesome.
To like singing in a thing called Gingerbread Kids. But we had like suspenders. I felt like a little like Oompa Loompa or something. And
that's awesome.
Basketball, soccer, football, baseball. Until I found something that I could call my own.
Yeah.
And this is why I think it was wrestling. I couldn't blame anybody, like a quarterback or point guard,
right,
for losing the game for us. Crouzon syndrome had become something that was so uncontrollable because I was born with it. I wanted something that I could control.
Yeah.
I wanted something that if I went all chips in the middle of the table, if I bet on me, if I did more, I call it being disobedient to average, when my coach was like, 20 push-ups, 20 push-ups. I ain't going to do 20 push-ups if I want to stand out. I ain't going to do 20 push-ups if I want the gold medal. So guess what? I'm going to do more. I'm going to be disobedient to the average that he's telling everybody else to do.
I love that.
So guess what? I'm going to do wrestling, and I'm going to do it to where every time I'm told to do something, I'm not going to obey that. Now, when you hear that, you think, oh, freak, he's going to do 17 push-ups.
Yeah, yeah.
No, but what if we were actually disobedient to the great side of it?
Yeah.
And we were disobedient to whatever average was. Whoo!
Boy, I love
Todd,
that.
that's where life starts.
Yeah, that's powerful. So, man, you hit the ground running. If I understand correctly, I might be wrong. Weren't you the first undefeated in junior high, at your junior high in wrestling, the first person to go undefeated?
Yeah, man, you got a good memory. Yep.
Yeah, isn't that cool? That again, here you are. You're still this young kid, but yet you have this mindset all of a sudden. Like you're like, okay, disobedience to average. I love that.
Yeah. I think the important thing to realize, though, we talk about this in the documentary.
Yeah.
I wasn't at varsity, though. Like, Michael Jordan didn't make his high school team.
Yeah. He got cut.
Like, let's realize where we have to start.
Yeah.
You and I talked about how you speak all the time on stage now. We also talked about how for the first 5 and 6 years that you and I both have been speaking, it was free gigs.
Yep.
It was like, what can I do? What do you need me to travel?
Yeah.
I'm in the car.
Yeah.
Right? That's putting the time in.
Yeah.
That's earning your the path. Like, you have to pave the path.
Yeah.
So, like, I was undefeated, but I was junior varsity. Almost all the first year I wrestled in junior high. Sometimes you're gonna raise your company. You're gonna be maybe a multi-million-dollar company. Guess what? First 3 years, you might be the janitor too.
Right. Yep.
You might be the clerk, and you'll probably be your own assistant.
Yep.
You'll be your customer service. You'll be just about everything.
Yeah, you're gonna wear many hats.
You'll wear about every hat, and
it's
not glorious, but man, it's the glory one in that moment.
I love that. And boy, I played basketball, and I'll never forget. So in high school, we would start our practice after school the same time the wrestlers would, right? And we had a hard practice. I mean, we worked our butts off. We thought we'd go in, shower, get ready to leave. We're hungry. We're gonna go eat dinner. We're leaving. Well, the wrestlers are still going, and I see guys doing piggyback. They got a guy on his back, and they're running up and down stairs, and they're still going. And I'm like, these guys are crazy. And I always had the utmost respect for wrestlers. It is probably got to be one of the most difficult things to do. The one-on-one, it's all you, and just, the time and effort and the stuff you put into train is amazing.
Yeah.
And
then they go home and they're hungry, and then they don't eat.
Yeah.
They lose weight.
Then they got to sweat it out and, make weight for the match. But yeah, I always had just the utmost respect for the wrestlers. And for you to do that based on what you've gone through, that was also just another, impressive thing that you've done.
Wrestling changed my life. That's why I give the piece of advice to all parents out there. Every kid that wants to absolutely change their life, find something that you can champion and absolutely go all in with.
Yeah.
Like, I remember in elementary, and this is the stuff that you don't talk about all the time, I would go to my junior high practice, literally get a bite to eat in the car on the way to my next practice. Or,
yeah,
that was the club practice, or walk from my junior high and hop 4 fences to get to my high school so we can wrestle with the high school kids after our junior high practice. When you are willing to put in the work, and then when you're willing to look in the mirror, Todd, and be extremely proud of yourself and know that you can be your own hero,
yeah,
and you get to the level that your I am statements are so dang powerful that you empower yourself, you can be a force to be reckoned with in that moment.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about those I am statements. I know you're really big into that. I am too. It really has changed, reconstructed my belief system. Had I not done that, I wouldn't be sitting with you today, to be honest. And so I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Like, for our listeners that are tuning in, like, what does that look like for you, and how do you do that? Do you mind sharing that?
I would absolutely love sharing it, because it's been a huge change in my life on how I see myself. And how I see myself is usually how the world sees me. It's weird to say that, because, man, if people see me confident, then they'll be like, huh, holy cow, how can that kid be confident, right?
Yeah.
For what he was, born with or whatever. But then it's just contagious. And they're like, oh, I call it my Benergy. Right?
I love that.
I call it my Benergy. I'm like, yeah, let me give you some of my Benergy.
I love
So
that.
get this. Maybe you've heard this. What follows your I am follows you.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So there have been some of the most powerful people that have been, like, whether they're really wealthy, big influence, one of the most comical people that we've ever had the pleasure of hearing is what's his name? He played Peter Pan. He played
Robin Williams.
Robin Williams.
Yeah.
One of the most genius influencers on the screen ever.
Yeah.
His I am statement somewhere along the way faltered, because he ended his own life thinking he wasn't impactful enough. He wasn't powerful enough. He didn't have influence. Oh, man. I wish I could have been there in that moment, Todd.
Yeah.
To pour into him what truly his I am statement was.
Yeah.
For how the world saw him.
Yeah.
But before the world sees us that way,
we
get to see ourselves that way.
Yep.
We get to pour into ourselves. So if you guys don't have an I am statement, please borrow mine. If you go to victorvault.com. So I'm a big fan of being a victor, not a victim.
Yep.
You go to Victor Vault, Victor, VICTOR, VAULT.com. I'm going to give you a free gift. What it is a PDF of my entire I am statement that I took a long time putting together.
Sure.
But I didn't start that way.
Yeah.
I didn't start varsity. Michael Jordan didn't start in the NBA. I started on the ground floor.
Yep.
JV, just wanting to be on the team. So what did I do before I had that? Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
I saw him, and he was the one that said, now I am the voice. I will lead, not follow. I believe, not doubt. I am a force for good. I am a leader. Defy the odds. Set a new standard.
Yeah.
Step up. Step up. Step up. And I'm like, I'm stealing that.
Yeah.
And I did.
Yeah. I love it.
Stole it. And I made it my I am statement.
That's amazing.
And I've never met Tony, but that dude has changed my life.
Yeah.
And one day, Todd, I will speak on stage with him.
Yeah. I believe you.
And one day I will speak on stage with him, and I'll tell him that story.
Yeah.
And I'll tell him, Tony, I know you hear this a bit, but you absolutely shaped my life until I could create my own I am statement.
Yeah.
And then I did. And that I am statement means the world to me. And here's the problem, though, Todd. This is the problem. We get to the point that when we look in the mirror, our I am statements are okay just being average.
Yeah.
I'm going to invite you to disobey average.
Yep.
Look in the mirror and say such like shattering I am statements that makes you feel like what I just said, I can't say that lightly speaking Tony Robbins' I am statement because that impacted me.
Yeah.
So if you're sitting down normal while you're saying your I am statement, upgrade, get a new one. My first line of my I am statement that you guys are going to be able to get is, now I choose me. I thought about that for a long time, Todd, because it sounds selfish if you don't know the meaning behind it.
Right.
But selfish can also be misconstrued as that, when in reality, it's self-mastery. What do I mean by that? I could never master myself if I always chose to be somebody else's version 2.0.
Yep.
Why do I say that first? Because in my younger years, even today, it's a fight today, I never want to ever feel like I need to be somebody else.
Yeah.
God created us to be us. God created us to be like this. Crouzon syndrome is absolutely on purpose.
Yeah.
It is the biggest gift, the biggest like superpower I have.
Love it.
And I'll share with you this. Listeners, you guys out there, you may not be a believer in Jesus Christ, but at least you know who he is.
Yeah.
At least you know the guy and the myth, the man, the legend that people say walked the earth perfectly.
Yeah.
He was a freaking renegade. And if you really want to study I am statements,
Yeah.
study that dude.
Yeah.
Homeless, had 12 crazy friends, didn't have a job,
Yeah.
at least on the earth job.
Yeah.
He had a big mission. And he would literally go in front of people and they're like, well, who are you? Homeless, crazy guy? Begging for food, whatever? He's like, oh, I'm the Prince of Peace. Like, what are you talking about? I'm the Son of God, the beginning and the end, the bread, the water. I am the Alpha and Omega.
Yeah.
And one of the most gangster I am statements, man, and this is what like set to light, like, all right, if he can do it, and man, then maybe I can do it.
Yeah.
Maybe I can be a little bit of this guy who has led this example.
Yeah.
And one of the most gangster versions of him is when I can just imagine him being amongst the kingdom that he was a part of. They weren't neighborhoods back then. They weren't counties. They were kingdoms.
Yeah.
And he's in this kingdom, walls around, castle. And he gets taken to the castle by the guards of the king of this area.
Yeah.
And I could just imagine being in like the olden day like handcuffs, probably being whipped, blood, sweat,
Yep.
probably a little smelly, hungry because they hadn't fed him for a couple days maybe. I can just imagine the king coming up to him, knowing that his next, because all the guards are telling him, you're going to die. We're going to kill you.
Yeah.
Knowing that what his fate would be if the next thing that he would say in front of the king was something not in line with what he said. And just imagine this.
Yeah, right.
And then question what your I am statement is.
Yeah, yeah.
Imagine the king saying, you got one shot. to take back everything you've said. One shot. I've heard you say you're the Lord of Lords, King of Kings, Son of God, the Chosen. I'm going to give you one shot. Otherwise, I'm going to kill you. Just imagine.
Yeah.
And then he says, who are you? Be honest this time. I can just imagine the man who said that the world said they walked a perfect life, right? I could just imagine him look at the king of his area and look him in the eye with bravery and courageousness, knowing that his life is on the line, and say, I'm the King of Kings. I'm the Lord of Lords.
Yeah.
That's a mic drop moment.
For sure.
If that doesn't teach us what we can do in our own life about what our I am statement should be, then I don't know how they'll inspire us to move forward through dark times.
Wow. That is so good. I'm so glad you shared that, because that really painted a picture in my head. Because it can, it's also even like a metaphor, that fear of this thing that we're facing, the obstacle. That's when we got to shout, no, I'm the King of Kings. I am this, versus letting the fear go, oh, okay, I'm not going to say anything. I'll just kind of cower down. And dude, that was powerful. I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
It's moments like that allowed me to create my I am statement, to know that, man, what if we're like actually meant for something?
Yeah.
What if we're actually born on purpose?
Yeah.
And what if our meaning and our significance in life is actually meant to stand out so we can shine our light?
Yeah.
Man, that's pretty powerful.
That is. And I love how you say this has been, this Crouzon syndrome has been your biggest gift. And I agree with that. Because, I've had my own struggles with addiction and things like that. And that's been my greatest gift. Like, I took my first drink at 11 years old. That opened up 10 years of hell for me. And I am so grateful for it, because I'm sitting here talking to you. That drink at 11 years old led to this moment right now.
Yes.
Blows my mind.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah. I wouldn't wish that on anyone, and I wouldn't want to go through it again, but it led to this moment, and I'm one of the lucky ones that got out of that. And to hear you say, Todd, this is the biggest gift that I have, and I know it is. Dude, I so admire when you hop up on stage and you get going. Dude, you are like, guys, if you've never seen Ben speak, dude, he is on fire. Within 2 minutes, you are out of your seat and you are like, let's go. Yeah. You are so good at connecting with people that way. And like, it's genuine though, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, you're not just yelling. You can feel the love and the passion behind your words because you want to make a difference. That's what makes you stand out, my friend. You're not just up there, trying to rally the troops. It's like, this guy is coming from his heart, and look what he's been through and what he's overcome. It is amazing, like truly amazing.
I'm 41 years old, almost 42, Todd, and I feel like I'm a rookie in life with a little bit of a track record.
Right.
And I feel like I'm just starting, and in my journey of this life and the next half that I'm so excited for.
Yeah.
I've learned a massive important thing that I search for as quick as possible in everything I start and in my relationships. And it's the word, what is this person's intention? When people are on stage, those type of speakers, that the intention is all about them.
Yep.
Because they want the attention.
Yeah.
I learned from some incredible mentors that, Ben, the connection that we so lack in this world is not going to happen. You're not going to connect if the light that's coming on you stays on you.
Yep. I love
You're going to get burnt by that light, Ben.
Yep.
But when you allow it to shine through you and you connect with the people in the audience and it's actually about them,
Yeah.
that's when you know it's different. Trust me. I've had people come up to me and be like, man, I wonder if I should have booked you because I hear you do this chant at the end. I heard you really high energy. And then they see other people that do chants or high energy, and it's just completely corny.
Yeah.
It's a facade.
Yep.
And it's like, yeah. But when it comes from your heart,
Yep.
and it comes from like something that just inspires you,
Yeah.
then that's when contagiousness happens.
Yes.
That's when like empowering happens.
You are so good at that too. Seriously.
Oh, man.
You really are. It's so cool. It is. Yeah. And that makes a lot of sense. And I've had mentors tell me the same thing. Your job is to connect with the crowd. Don't make it about you. You know, it's the same thing with this podcast. I don't make it about Todd. I make it about Ben. This is Ben's story, man. We're honoring you today, my friend. And
You're the man.
Yeah, I'm grateful I've had those mentors point me in that direction, right? Grateful for those.
Well, I want to tell you something. You came
Yeah.
and spoke at a conference that I was a part of.
Yeah.
And it was very clear that it was about the people in the audience, because I was one of those people.
Yeah.
And, dude, this was probably 3 years ago.
Yeah. It's been about.
I mean, at least 2.
It's been at least 2. Yeah.
And I'm sitting there. Dude, that's a long time.
Yeah.
To remember, I've listened to so many speakers,
Yeah.
and I don't remember them all.
Yeah.
I'll never forget the story that you shared when you went to the prison.
Yeah.
And I don't want to tell the story because I don't want to ruin it for you. But it was a story that absolutely changed me.
Wow.
Because of how you were in this prison with these criminals.
Yeah.
But yet you poured into them.
Yep.
And you absolutely just connected with them and empowered them to like another level.
Yeah.
When you can connect with people that are supposed to be the outcasts,
Yeah.
that's the best of the best, man.
Yeah.
That's the best of the best. And you did that so well.
Well, coming from you, that means a lot. So I appreciate that so much. Thank you. That means the world coming from you.
No, dude, it was
Seriously.
so good. So if you haven't listened to him speak, listen to him speak.
Yeah, I appreciate that. You're awesome. I want to talk you don't have to go. I know it's a long story, but let's talk about your beautiful family. It took a long time for you to get to where you guys are at. LaCol, your amazing wife, and you got 3 beautiful adopted children. And if you could just give us a little bit background of what you went through to have that even come to be.
It's a long story, but tell you what, if you guys want to see the full story, go to YouTube.
Yeah,
And
I watched that thing. I cried, dude. I cried. That's so good.
Take 13 minutes and go watch it.
Yes.
Long
I
story
agree.
short, we had 10 years of hardships
Yeah.
with infertility, 2 miscarriages, a little boy, a little girl, and then, man, tens and tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars invested in trying to have a family. And, man, 2 miscarriages that were just devastating, and then that turned into 2 failed adoptions. And we're just like, man, God, what's going on? It was like a why me victim situation.
Yeah.
And it was in the moment that we were in the deepest of our why me's, darkest time. Literally, it was, let's call it a Tuesday night. We were like, God, what the freak?
Yeah.
Like, is this not good?
Yeah.
Is this not the right thing?
Yeah.
We've invested, like, everything. What are we not doing? And the message is this. The point is this. In your darkest of why me's, you're going to find out your why nots. Because God is going to come just like he did the next day for us. When the phone started ring, and we're like, hello? And we're just crying. Wait, there's a boy born? He was born last night? And we can adopt him? Absolutely, let's go. 15 hours later, we touch down and we're holding a little boy in our arms.
Yeah.
And long story short, we walk out of signing papers with my oldest boy. And at the end of the hallway, there's a adoption director that's crying, hang up her phone, and she's like, "You lost a little boy and a little girl in miscarriage, right?" Well, yeah. And she looked at LaCol, my wife, and said, "You're a twin, right?" She's like, "Yeah."
Mm-hmm.
She's like, "How would you like to raise a little boy and a little girl like twins? They would be 5 days apart. I just got off the phone from a mom that chose you." We're like, "What?"
Wow.
We go home. What you'll see online and how we started our family is my family had no clue. We went home, surprised them with 2 kids. And then we did it again 13 months later with my youngest boy, who's my oldest boy's full blood brother. And it went viral. And the true message is this. When you feel like you're in the spotlight moment of your light or of your life, and you feel like you're on the top of the mountain, other people will try to dim your light, and other people may try to knock you off that mountain, as they did on social media. And I could show you in front of, I mean, the video went to like 85 million views. I can show you message after message after message after message that said, "I can't believe they allowed this family to adopt that guy because of how he looks." Or, "I totally get why his wife didn't have natural kids with him, because they would have looked like that."
Are you serious?
Oh, man. Message after message, and then the opportunity to, once you know who you are, and you understand your I am statement, and you understand why you're here,
Yeah.
and you also understand that hurt people easily,
Yeah.
then your responses are a little bit more kind. It's a little bit more like Christ.
Yeah.
When he came out of the Garden of Gethsemane and his buddy chopped off the ear, and instead of saying, "Chop off the other ear, let's go,"
Yeah.
instead of doing that, he picked up the ear and healed him.
Yeah.
Here's the story we don't talk about. We don't talk about what happened after. Imagine that soldier who went to go pick up Jesus, and his job, and he knows his job was to get ready to go kill him.
Yeah.
This is what we don't talk about. Imagine him going home that night to his wife. And his wife has dinner made, and he sits down, and he has blood all over his shoulder. And his wife's like, "Honey,
Yeah.
what happened?"
Yeah. Right.
And he's like, "I lost my ear today." She's like, "No, you didn't. It's on your head."
Yeah. It's right there.
He's like, "Honey, you'll never believe it." And then he tells the story. And then he says, "Honey, I think we got the wrong guy." I think we got the wrong guy. Because this is what he did to me. When we start reacting as he would, like a victor, not a victim, like Jesus would, I'm saying.
Yeah.
And we heal the ear. We come back with kindness. We don't come eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. When we come back at a higher level to stand out and be a very peculiar type of people, that is a different life, man. That's true connection.
Yeah. Wow. I can't even imagine. And having that much attention on that for you guys, but then have so much negativity thrown your direction. And again, you're probably like, "Hey, I've dealt this since I was a little kid. I mean, I know what this is like. I know who I am." That is so powerful. You know the famous quote by Mark Twain, "The 2 most important days of a person's life are the day you were born and the day you found out why."
I love that.
And I love that because it's true, right? When you know that why, you can deal with any how. Just it's amazing. And so it's so funny because you think of your training that you've had to go through all the way back to when your mom said, those powerful words to you in your darkest moment as that little kid, right? You got to lean into this, right? You're going to lean into this attention, and it's going to be amazing kind of thing. Reshaped your whole belief system, which led to here we are. You're on stage. You're making a difference. You've got this beautiful family. Those kids are adorable, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, just
so blessed.
what a beautiful family. Seriously. I mean, really. And to be quite honest, and this might sound weird, I think they look like your kids.
Yeah.
Like they fit, if that makes sense.
Totally.
Right?
Makes
Have you
sense.
probably heard that before? But
Yeah.
and this might sound weird. Dude, you're a good looking dude.
Thanks, man.
You
That's
really
not
are.
weird at all.
You know?
That's not weird
Like,
at all.
And you know why? Because you just you just own it.
Yeah.
You just, I don't know, dude, man. You are just something else.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to just, blow smoke here. I
No,
really mean this.
I've had people come up to me because you get it when you're on stage. I've learned that vulnerability is the biggest superpower.
For sure.
And when I was okay to be vulnerable,
Yep.
I share really like hard times.
Yeah.
Openly.
Yep.
And so I'll have people, men and women alike, come up and they're like, I think you're good looking. I'm like, it's about time.
Yeah.
It's about time you think so. Like, when did you not?
You're like, I've known this for my whole life. Where have you been?
On. and then, or they'll
Yeah.
say, tell your wife I think you're handsome. I'm like, well, there's a reason why she married me.
Yeah, right.
Come on, I got some swagger. Let's go.
Exactly.
And so sometimes, just like Michael Jordan, other coaches, other people have to catch up with your belief.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
it deserves to start here.
Yeah.
It deserves to start here.
I love that.
And when that happens, it's no surprise. When you've tasted it, felt it, seen it, touched it, because you're such a visionary of what will happen,
Yeah.
and it's already happening, or it in your mind it's already happened, yeah. Like, I'm going to speak on stage with Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
And when that moment happens, it won't be a surprise. It'll be, this
Yep.
is what it feels like.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've already lived it.
Yep.
You've already lived it. You already visualized it. Wow, that's so cool. If I want to ask you this question, I ask this with most of my guests, is if there's someone listening to you right now and they're in a dark place and they're struggling with their confidence, whatever, they're just a mess right now.
Yeah.
And they're listening to Ben right now, what would you tell that person right now?
Dude, that is so good. Can I speak to the camera?
Please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys, if you're in that, by the way, well, welcome to the freaking club.
Yeah.
We are all in that in one time or another, and it's all different levels. And I just want to tell you, like, I see you. I feel you. I totally understand you. And it may not be the same trials. It may not be the same addictions. It may not even be the same part of the world. But I do know this. Pain feels pain. And there's empathy that absolutely outreaches any type of pain. Love absolutely overcasts a wide net over any type of pain, any type of addiction, any type of failure, any type of dead end. Just what if in this moment you could think that this was a new beginning and not a dead end? What if you could celebrate the new beginning? In my life, me and my wife decided after all these failures that we would choose new beginnings. And we wouldn't feel like there'd be dead ends.
Yeah.
But we chose to celebrate a new beginning. And our celebration was traveling. And so I don't know what that is for you.
Yeah.
It may be a chick flick movie. It may be a candy bar from the store, which that's what it was for me growing up. It may be a run on the mountain trail. It may be a call to a friend. I'm really hoping that you choose right now in this mess, in this darkness, in this pain, and I'm not trying to play light of that. I've been there. I just want to pour into you and say you're exactly where you need to be right now to learn the exact lesson that you're learning. Congrats and welcome to the new beginning. And now you have people here like me that are just going to pour into you and be your friend.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
Todd, thanks for letting me do that, man.
Wow. Thanks for sharing that. That was powerful. I love that. I'm going to end with this. I'm going to share this statement with you. Again, thinking about I am statements. But I saw this the other day, and I thought, I'm sharing this with Ben because it reminds me of you. Okay?
I love that.
Whew.
Hold on. I want to record this. I want to record
What?
this on my phone, dude. Come on. This is powerful. You don't get moments like this all the time.
Yeah, that's true.
Come on.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Here it is. Every saint has a past and every sinner has a future. A reminder that we are all unfinished stories, scarred by our mistakes, yet redeemed by the hope of what's to come. It whispers that even in the darkest moments can be a stepping stone to the light, that redemption isn't just reserved for the perfect. No, it's for the broken, the flawed, the ones who have fallen and dared to rise again. The past doesn't define you, it shapes you, and your future, well, hell, that's where you'll shine. Dude, that is you, my friend. That is, I should just put Ben on top of that thing.
Is this guy powerful or what, man? Look at this guy, Todd.
Yeah.
Brother. Like, you have such a superpower. Like, seriously.
Thank you.
You have such a superpower.
Thank you. Well,
You're so gifted.
well, I appreciate that. And again, you make it easy, dude. I'm sitting here, I'm in the realm of greatness here. I really believe that. And I just respect, again, all the wrestling, the accolades, the awards, the world championships, the speaking events, the millions of views. But at the end of the day, you are a fantastic father and husband. That is the best.
That's the core, man.
That is the core. And I know you live it because I watch it. And yeah, so I can't thank you enough, Ben, for taking some time to be with me today on the podcast. It really is an honor. We've been trying to get this lined up for several years, and to be able to come speak at that event that you were at too, and just I've been following you for many years, and this is like a bucket list thing for me. You're here, we did it, and I can't wait for the listeners to share this with the world.
For me, if you guys don't follow this guy, guys, come on. I mean, you probably do because you're here.
Yeah,
But
hopefully,
invite others
Yeah.
to share his light. I mean, thank you so much for having me, man.
Yeah, absolutely. If people want to reach out to you, Ben, and they want to know more about what you do and how they can watch your documentary, what's the best way for them to reach out to you?
Social media is the best way for sure.
Okay.
I'm on a lot of the platforms.
Yep.
And Ben Kjar, Kjar is my last name. I know it's a crazy last name. You say it Care like Care Bear.
Yeah, Care Bear.
Yep. And the documentary will come out. We're doing film festivals now. We have a couple more that we got accepted to. And I think we'll do that for the next 5 months.
Okay.
And then I think we'll go into theater, in regional theaters.
Yeah.
And that'll be crazy.
Dude,
and then
I can't wait.
DVDs, I can't believe those are still sold, but they are.
Right.
And then we'll stream.
Okay.
It can be bought at any point by a Netflix or an Amazon Prime or something. But
Let's go. Let's go.
I'm just enjoying the ride, man.
Yeah, I bet. What a great honor to have this documentary about your life, because I'm telling you, I haven't seen, obviously, but I've seen your life, and for people to witness what you've been through and overcome, I mean, it's going to be so inspiring. It's going to be a number one hit in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're lucky, man. We're just blessed to have good people in our life.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, I'll put your links to your website and all that and your socials in the show notes when we go live. And I encourage everyone, please reach out to Ben, ask him a question. He's one of the most safe guys to go to. He'll answer any question. He is so approachable, and dude, your confidence is it's so genuine and it's beautiful.
Thanks, man.
I love you have a belief system that I admire, and thanks for just being a light in this world that we need so desperately right now.
Thanks. And you're right. I just want to be a fan of your guys's.
Yeah.
Like, I literally just want to be a cheerleader. I call it fanboying.
Yeah.
I just want to be a fanboy.
Yeah.
I just want to cheer them on.
Yeah,
I just want to be like, yeah, let's freaking go.
Yeah.
Like, I want to see you succeed.
Yeah.
And I want to cheer you on as you fail, because we'll all fail. But
Yep.
it's when we get up and, the hero's journey.
Yep.
I want that. So reach out, and I would love to just pour
Okay.
into them.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, guys, I told you were in for a doozy today, and it was, man. It was beautiful. I felt so just amazing here. At times, just my skin just, I would like, man, the spirit in this room is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
It was there. So
Thank you, man.
Yeah, beautiful. Guys, thank you for tuning in. As always, thanks to my sponsors. You guys are amazing for believing in me. It means the world. Again, I encourage you guys to reach out to Ben. If you have a friend or a loved one who's struggling, send them a link to this episode to say, hey, listen to this, and I'll follow back up with you. It will break the ice. It will help someone who's in need and who's struggling, and we'll get the word out and spread this to as many people as we can. So, as always, you guys are the best. And one last thank you to Ben Kjar. He's the best. Thank you, man.
Thanks.
Okay. King of Kings.